Democratic lawmakers in Washington are strategizing on how to best utilize a lame duck session before the GOP takes full control of both houses in January of next year. Rise America anchor Debbie Turner-Bell spoke earlier with U.S. Representative Emanuel Cleaver. The congressman represents Missouri's 5th congressional district.
Congressman Cleaver, welcome to Rise America. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us. I do appreciate it. And first of all, congratulations on your re-election.
Thank you.
This was a tough and hard-fought midterm election, especially for the Democrats. Took a little bit of a bruising, and unfortunately you come back to a very lopsided House. So let me just start off by asking you, what's the strategy for you and your colleagues to get through anything on the Democratic agenda and work with Republicans in some meaningful way?
Well, it is important that we work together. I think that's one of the things the public really wants. Everybody wants to read into the vote something that is prejudicial to what they are doing or believing. But I think that we can get some things done because, look, there are a few things that are ideological and people have difficulty moving on. But the vast majority of the things are things that we can all be somewhat flexible on. We need a highway and transportation bill. Democrats and Republicans both know that we need that, and we need it desperately. We're falling behind places like China in terms of rebuilding of our infrastructure. So I think that what we have to do is try to appeal to everyone's self-interest, and at the same time, Republicans have got to do this as well, and that is we got to be very, very careful that we don't start offending people so that they become hardened in their positions and then decide that doing nothing is a way of revenge, and I hope that we can avoid doing that.
Well, you know, as the Republicans were taking what I'm calling their victory lap just after the midterm elections, there were some very specific words, saber-rattling, if you will, particularly Mitch McConnell saying that if President Obama moved forward with executive actions to reform immigration, that would poison the well for working on anything else. Do you have a sense that Republicans sincerely want to work with the president and the Democrats in Congress?
Well, what leader-to-be McConnell said, I think, is unfortunate because at the same time that he's saying that, you know, he said if you put it's like putting a red towel in front of a bull. Of course, bulls don't see in color anyway, but that's another whole issue. But the point is, he said that, and then at the same time said he wants to repeal and replace Obamacare. And so it's like, you know, we can have things that we don't want to be flexible on, but we don't want you to have anything that you are embracing without flexibility. And so that was a very telling sign that this next 2 years may not be any more productive than the previous 2. And that's unfortunate for the most powerful nation on the planet that I think is dangerously jeopardizing our position in the world because of this kind of tribal politics that we've begun to embrace in this country.
Congressman, did you find yourself separating yourself from President Obama and his accomplishments as you campaign for re-election? And do you think that the president has been marginalized from here on out?
Well, when I campaigned on the things that I had supported and the things I would support, including the Affordable Care Act. I did not find that it was necessary for me to abandon votes that I'd taken. I mean, it's so silly for any Democrat to say, well, I'm not going to let people know that I voted for the Affordable Care Act. Of course, it's in the record. We voted for it. And if you take some of the key elements of that legislation, the whole country supports it. I think that people made a mistake by running from the president. And all you have to do, the facts support me. Look at all the people who ran away from the president. They lost. Look, I think people like loyalty. People like to see people who say, you know, I'm sorry, this is where I stand. George Bush, who I didn't support on many of his policy positions, but I respected him. Even when he was in office, I said this, that George Bush could be as wrong as a left shoe on a right foot, but he stood strong in it. He didn't, you know, dither back and forth. He was strong in it, and I think that's what the public really wants. And the Democrats who just kind of wiggled all around during the campaign found themselves losing. It's not healthy.
Let me jump in there. I want to get to one more thing, and we literally are down to segments. You represent a district that does not include Ferguson, Missouri. In fact, you're on the other side of the state. However, you are from the state of Missouri. And so I just wonder if you think what could be done to foster a greater understanding and trust between particularly African-American communities and law enforcement.
I was in Ferguson on Saturday. I've been there all during this tumult, working with Congressman Lacy Clay. Look, they can do something in Ferguson. You know, if they want to show the people that some changes are going to be made, I think replacing the police chief would be a good way to do it, and there are plenty of reasons to do so. African Americans and Latinos, more than any other group in America, ought to have a good working relationship with law enforcement because it's our communities where the highest levels of crime is committed. It's
been such a pleasure to talk to you. Unfortunately, I've got to leave it right there. Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, thank you so much.
Good to talk with you.